All right. Hey, okay, we are on and we are on air. So any of you who've been hanging out, waiting for this to start, we had some tech stuff and well, doesn't matter. We're here now. So thank you for waiting and hang tight because our attendees are coming from the previous session and they'll be here shortly. So April and I are just going to hang and get the party started. So for those of you who are tuning in remotely, this is part of the Underground Art Initiative Live Retreat. And you get the extra special privilege of taking part in some of these amazing workshops for free, which is pretty cool because this was, I don't want to say it was a high-ticket item, but it's a 4-day retreat, so it's not cheap to go somewhere for 4 days and learn amazing, life-changing, business revolutionizing stuff. So April, can you hear me? Well, doesn't matter. We're here now. So thank you for waiting. And hang tight because our attendees are coming from the previous session and they'll be here shortly. So April and I are just going to hang and get the I hear feedback. So people are tuning in remotely. This is
Shana, are we on
part of the Underground Art Initiative. Yeah, I don't know why it's here. I'm going to close a window and see. Can you hear playback on your side, April? Taking part in some of these amazing workshops for
I can't
free.
even focus.
Yep, it's you. So go ahead and close any other windows that you have open on your screen. So it's not.
Which one am I going to close?
Everything except for where you see my face. Amazing.
Done.
Awesome.
Much better. Yeah.
All right. And we should be streaming via this huge screen TV here, which I'm just going to set that up. So let's give this a whirl.
How can you hear me?
I can hear you through my headphones. You sound great.
Great.
Let's see here if I can get the Here we go. Here we go. We should be streaming. For anyone that's watching live, thanks for bearing with us. We're waiting on a couple of the attendees to come in. So April, any kind of tidbits or words of wisdom? We'll tell people who are watching what we are talking about. We're talking about becoming a magnet for your ideal client avatar. And so any quick little snippets or words of wisdom that you want to share before we officially start?
Well, I really I want to approach this in terms of, my organic origination, so in telling the story of how, they can't be where you're not.
Yes.
And how I came to realize that. And I think in that beginning part of my story, the origination, other people and the attendees will see themselves.
Absolutely.
And the overhead message would be, is my big disclaimer, you are not me. This is one person's story, something I got caught up in. Now I don't see you.
Yep, I put my video off for a moment as I move my computer around. So you guys go ahead and keep going. I just didn't want to distract everyone with the computer moving.
Oh, okay. So first part is how your clients cannot be where you are not. And the second big disclaimer I want to tell people is to listen with a grain of salt. I'm one artist with one story and how I found my way, and that can change. I don't want people to get too attached to any person, that they come across in their journey, thinking that it's the only way, giving advice or direction or methodology that's the only way. I'm really opposed to that kind of sanctity of, of teaching.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you and I have had conversations about that, coming from B school, the one way.
Yes.
And there's no one way.
There is absolutely no one way there.
We measure ourselves against, what we're learning, and to be our best humble selves, we're like, well, this is working for them. Why isn't it working for me? So therefore, there must be something wrong with me, and that is just really not the case.
Yeah, you have to really be aware of your own specific situation and not follow what the rest of what the crowd is doing. It is really specific to your ideal client, your work, what you're offering, who you're offering it to.
That's the gig today.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started here.
So will I be able to see the room and everyone?
Yep, I'm going to have everyone scoot over here to where you can be seen. So come on in front of the screen, ladies. Let's get me back on video. Can you see us?
Oh, yes. Hello.
Scoot in, people.
Hi.
All right, so this is Bridget and Bree. And we have Liz and Juliana, who are lost in the library. I just got a message. And then our three other live presenters who are here in person as well. So they're going to be coming in.
And Francine, is Francine here?
No, Francie wasn't able to make it. She had something come up, so unfortunately she won't be. But she can either live stream or for anyone who is part of the retreat, I will have a recording available. Unfortunately, not for anybody else, but for my retreat attendees. Come on over to this side of the table, people, and so just so that April can see us.
Yeah, I really want to be talking to you. Try to.
Are we all gonna squish over?
We're gonna just group just for this session.
Okay.
There's no writing. This is just listening. Then we're gonna move around. It's very mobile. It's not your standard conference around a table. You can see her up there, so you don't have to put your attention to her, but just so she can get your face. If you're not comfortable after a while, but just so she can introduce herself to everybody.
Is that Liz in the background?
There's Liz.
Hi, Liz. How are you?
And Juliana.
And where's Juliana? Oh, Juliana's coming.
There she is. So I just wanted her to see your face so she knows who she's talking to. If you don't feel comfortable sitting here, you definitely don't have to stay because you can see April on the big screen. You should be able to. Let me just switch one thing.
I'm just going to encourage you that I'd really, especially as a teacher, the way that I know that I'm on track is by your reaction, and by your head nodding or your flipping out, and we have a much more productive conversation. I want you to be able to get out of it what you need.
I just pull apart my computer.
Is that the glare?
Push the door, people. Push it. Push it.
Push it.
They're pulling, it should say. So thank you for everyone for being with us. This is my first live retreat. I'm learning so many things. I'm taking scrupulous notes on all the things that I'm going to do a little bit differently, but there's a lot of things I'm going to definitely do the same. If you ladies want to come meet April so she can see you, you can head to this side of the table. Or let me try this. Can you see people if we turn this way, April? Maybe the participants will be more careful if they're on the table. Would you be more careful around the table? Or more careful, more comfortable?
Yes.
Go for it.
Hi, April.
Let's see if you can see.
Get out of town!
Can I give you a hug?
Hello! Big hugs!
There we go.
Oh, this is
Sorry.
now the energy is really high for me. This is gonna rock. This is gonna rock.
You want to come up here? All right. Come on up here.
That's okay.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stand back here.
All right, so Shana, if women could all move down one seat, because I'm missing Bree or Bridget here in the braid. Yeah, so everybody, if they move down, I can have a
move back. You can see
back toward the end of the table.
Back
I can at least see a little of everybody. It does a really nice perspective split, and I can see everybody a little bit.
All right.
Does it sound?
I'm going to turn the volume up because there's one.
Sweet. And then you'll have this all figured out for the whole rest of
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So participants, you're going to be watching the big screen. Here we go. All right. And we'll try, here we go. Say something, April. Let's see if we can hear you on the big screen.
I'm right here. Testing. 1, 2. Hello. Hello.
Nope, you're not coming through.
Somebody grab some from the front desk?
Yeah, would ya?
Sure.
Actually, hold on. Say one more thing, April.
How is everyone today?
Awesome. And we are all systems go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Desiree, where are you? You light up my world. Where are you?
Hi, how are you?
Perfect.
Happy.
I'll go way down here. All right, so let the games begin. What we are talking about today is this session is our ideal client avatar, and April has a really great perspective on this. For any of you who have taken any sort of business courses or been in business for a while and seen all the different exercises in the ideal client avatar, you may start to feel like you're hearing more of the same and feeling frustrated that you're not finding your avatar where everybody else is. If you don't know what a client, does anyone not know what an ideal client avatar is? So your ideal client avatar is basically the person that you are working for, working with, and speaking to at all times with your marketing materials, with your copy on your website, in any of your brochures, in anything that you do. It is the one person that you have taken all the people that you work with and rolled into one ideal person so that you know that you're not just speaking to this blanket audience of the world out there. You're speaking to one particular person. That's your ideal client avatar. And we're going to talk a little bit about how do you discover who that person is, and then we're going to talk about where do you find them and how do you find them if they're not in the places that everyone is telling you you should be looking. So let's have April go through her story, a little bit about her background and what you do, April, and how you came to the point of figuring out that your ideal client avatar was not where you thought you were supposed to be looking.
Excellent. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is April DeMarco. I am an artist and a designer, and I'm going to start off with, I know we have a couple of students in the room and possibly other students listening today, is, I went to two of the best art schools in the country, and the great disservice that I realized probably about 15, 20 years out of school was that I was not prepared to be a lifelong artist. I actually had to go back to school to finish post-baccalaureate my teaching certificate, so I taught in a middle school, public school system here in New York for a while, which is one way to have a sustainable living as an artist. But when I think back about that time and the responsibility that I feel that the art school should have had, I feel that they failed. And what I mean by that is that there was no preparation, that we were kind of revolving around in this romantic culture, almost like young kids playing high school baseball, thinking they're all going to be snatched up like an A-Rod, and being given millions of dollars. We're all going to be found by a gallery, and someone's going to take care of everything else for us, and we don't need to learn how to read a contract. We don't need to learn how to promote ourselves. We don't need to learn how to, present ourselves. And granted, the world was also very different in those terms of marketing and business 25 years ago. I know I don't look a day over 18, but it was a long time ago. And even if you're just going into art school now, if you're just starting a trade, things have changed. You have to be business-minded. And this was the big epiphany that led me on the road to trying to create an income off of, my talents and all of the things that I had to offer, and that was also spontaneously left by circumstance, like a disaster in my career, if you will. About 11 years ago, a lot of things changed for the public school system. Oh, no. And our building went from 3 art teachers down to 1, and art was cut. Art was cut everywhere. So if you have children, you know this. If you're in school, you know this. If you listen to the news about school boards and taxes, these are the things getting cut way before, maybe their athletics programs or such. So there's a great injustice. Nonetheless, I lost my teaching position. And so this, this is where I took an obstacle, and I decided to I'm in a better place now than if I would have ever remained teaching in the middle school, though I love teaching and I will forever be a teacher. But a lot of you may, in your journey, find that you have all these obstacles or walls, that you can't move forward, that you can't do something. So I want you to know that most great stories include overcoming these obstacles, that they're there not for you to turn away, but to kind of creatively find resource around. So my journey has made me a better business person today than I ever could have known or wished for. So what I first did is I came across Jackie Battenfield, and I want to pass her along as a great resource. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little list of things that I mention and people ask for, and I'm going to create a page under, let's see, I'll put it under DeMarcoStudios.com, and I'll just do /UAI. How's that, Shana?
Yep, absolutely perfect. And then just send me the link, and I'll have it in their post retreat materials that they're going to get. So
that way nobody has to worry about writing. I'm going to keep notes, or if you want to ask me to forward something, I'm going to put that on when we, later today, so you'll have it all by the end of today. So don't worry about writing everything I say. So Jackie Battenfield, she is from New York City. She teaches at Columbia. She has been all over the world. She created a book on how to make a living doing what you love. So I took her course for several months in person, and it really started to light the fire for me. And it's written for creatives. And what I realized just by the people in the course with me about how many people were really suffering this injustice of their creative roots, just like I was. I mean, there were people who were in the middle of their life thinking, you think I should get a website? You think I should have a business card? And so it really was the first smack of reality that I had to ask myself, am I doing this or am I not doing this? And from there, it just started a fever of my own learning. I've always been used to teaching, and now I wanted to know more about business. I wanted to know more about entrepreneurship. I wanted to take that responsibility wholeheartedly, so I could not fail. And this was all just driven because I knew I was pulled all along every step, knowing that I was meant to reach a greater amount of people, a greater audience, something bigger than I could have imagined. So whatever it is that's propelling you, so that's not specific at all to fine art or to jewelry. I want you to focus on what's propelling you to find your ways. And I'm going to tell you that things just kind of come across. So here, I'm going to fast forward. I don't know what kind of timetable you're on, Shana, because of our late start. But let me
okay, another 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes would be perfect. Yeah.
So jumping ahead, I came to a point where I also had to overcome a lot of identity and confusion because I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. So it's another term, sadomasochist, in a certain way. I'm this sado entrepreneur. I'm just torturing myself because as a creatives, I can do anything I want to do. Doesn't mean I have to do everything, right? It doesn't mean I need to monetize every love. So before I found my customer, I had to decide what I'm offering, and that stalled me for a very long time. I had to really come into this incubation period where I had to get over this big hump of who I am and what am I doing, because I wanted to continue to teach fine art. I teach adults. I teach children. Well, is that why I'm going to take that to the next level and create an income stream from that? I started setting stones with Judith Reese in Brooklyn 25 years ago. Am I going to take my jewelry designing to the next level, and am I going to start to expand there? What about my own fine art? What about my own painting? Am I going to now start to show more globally and internationally? And, so all of these things, stop the process on finding my ideal client avatar. It was almost impossible until I knew what I was offering, because if I did not go through this period, I was sounding confusing. All right, I was sounding unclear. I was sounding inconfident, because truthfully I was. And even though we have many sides to ourselves, at this point, I've had to let certain devotions fall away. It doesn't mean that I will never go back to them. It means that I'm saving them in a notebook for another day. Mm-hmm. All right? So there are many sides, because what I was afraid of is that by me choosing meant I was limiting myself and breaking up with one of my great loves, that I could never, and all along I've been told you have to choose, way before I entered the business world of fine art, even as a painter, that I should choose jewelry or I should choose fine art. That even as a painter, I should choose painting Buddhas or I should choose the horses, that I should choose one because it's easiest for other people to identify you. Well, that's not me. I'm not a good chooser. So I have right now a very active career as both an exhibiting fine artist. I have a show at the East End in New York, East End Arts right now. I'm mailing stuff out to the Hive Gallery in LA, and I'm hanging work this week at a hospital that has a very prominent gallery. I have let fall away a lot of my teaching because I felt creatively I had to preserve my energy. And so right now I cut back on teaching and developing online courses for teaching. So that right now has fallen away. Doesn't mean I'll never come back to it. And I was kind of afraid that about that silly little unilateral contract that I created. So I don't want you to get hung up in that. Do not be afraid to choose for today. And you may meet me a year from now and I'm doing all online courses and teaching again. So I've allowed myself permission to change my mind, to choose, and to not let that also define just everything that I am. And in addition, I have developed my jewelry designs. I'm in 7 stores from Southampton to Saratoga Springs, and I'm doing my first trade show. So when I say choose, I'm still doing an awful lot. Okay, I have not, by any means, am I not bored walking around here in circles. I'm more full throttle, busier than ever, but I'm focused. All right, and I'm going to tell you what has really geared this focus also has been me responding to what I've gotten back by when I started out and branded in business. So I branded Covet and Adorn Jewelry last August, so a year ago. So happy birthday, I'm a year old. And, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I've had great success the minute I realized that I should stop following everyone else's advice. So my disclaimer to you is don't listen to a word I say. If it's not working for you, forget about me. You understand? Because there were a lot of moments that created those freezes for me in my journey. And at any point, of course, I mean, when it was hard, I wanted to quit a dozen times a day. Don't think that that's not normal. You know, I did. I wanted to turn away. But, ladies, there was a time in my life where the pillars of my day were laundry and dishes. And I have a full family and a rescue and a house to take care of and a mortgage and 2 cars. And it just wasn't me. And that made me feel also guilty because I knew how many women would just love to be home all day long, you know, Martha Stewarting it up. But there was this pull. I want to go back to this pull in me that there was something more. And so I had to use that something more, that pull, to get through every one of these obstacles. So I brand. I launch a website. It was crickets. Nothing. Nada. So, I mean, like, you know, in the old days, we used to pick up your phone to make sure that, you know, the guy you liked could call you. Maybe your phone wasn't calling you because your phone wasn't out of order. Like, I kept on clicking on my own website.
Where are those clients? You're thinking,
It was there. Like, and I realize now how naive I was. So I tried to fix the website. All right, I have a beautiful website. I challenge you to go on covetandadorn.com. Tell me. The videos are phenomenal. I have everything. I have models. I have model shoots. My products are professional photography. I have categories. I have perfect shopping carts. No technical errors. There is not a thing wrong with my website. But for about 3 months, I kept on asking other people to go to look at my website. Again, I was told that this website, that this online, if I could market, you know, online, and if I could leverage that marketing, that I would sit home. I had this like fantasy going that I would just, you know, go to the post office once a week. I'd be receiving orders by the landfall. I'd be working, you know, digitally in joy and bliss all week long, and receiving checks to, you know, just, you know, all I ever wanted. And this was a misnomer. And I find that this whole, you know, I'm still distracted by this because I know other people have cracked the code for selling online. That's not where my customer is.
This is the goal.
Nothing wrong with my website. I have everything. The opt-in, I have this, the sign-up, the email, the newsletter, everything in the right place. So if I could save you any time and trouble at all, and people will still argue with this, but my customer is not online. And I'll tell you, I did an expo where I went for a weekend where it was called WABASNY, a Women's School Board Association of New York. So there were women and the heads and the director of these other lay organizations. They were judges, they were honors, you know, they were district clerks, they were attorneys. They are not on Pinterest all day long writing down smoothie recipes. They are not reading newsletters. They are not subscribing. They have no time for this crap whatsoever. They are busy people. They get home, they barely have time to eat something, they crash, and they wake up at the crack of the dawn, and they are at it again. So I'm like, oh, I made a shitload of money at this event. More money than I made in the entire previous year. And so this helped me define. So I'm responding to what was working well instead of trying to fix what's not working because nothing was broke. So I realized that for my jewelry, women who make their own income, professionals, 40 and over, and everybody wants to be in the 25, 35 hip range, you know, get over it. I sell to old girls like myself who want to deny themselves, you know, and what these signature pieces mean to them. You know, these women, they each get a gray, a blue, a black, brown suit, and then the jewelry on top is all of the posturing and signature that like men do when they pull up a bunch of their cars next to each other and lift up the hoods and look under the engines. You know, that's all of their stature. And they don't have time to shop. So when they finally find something they like, they dig their claws into it and they stick. And so, like, a lot of light bulbs went off. Like, I couldn't even drive home. Like, I was like giddy out of my mind. So many things were happening. So I still to this day will see, you know, make $1 million on Pinterest, you know, or find, you know, your multi-million-dollar or six-figure success on Instagram. And to me, these ads today are very much like lose 30 pounds in 10 days with this magic pill. They've become like the new ridiculous, like these ads and these banners, like because they get you. Well, I want that. Of course I want that. I'm going to do that too. So maybe in the future, I will find a way to crack that code for my customer. But right now, what I focused on is in 2 months, I acquired 7 stores wholesale. My work speaks in person. There's no photography in the world that really can touch and feel and wear that art in person like it's sitting in a store. So this is what I've learned for me. And hence I've got these 2 trade shows that I'm looking forward to are going to do that. I need these other buyers to come, to act just like these other women that I've met who are my avatar, who are my client, who love like what I'm doing, the way I'm doing it, who see and hold it for them, bring it to their stores, all the places I cannot be. And I have to play the long game because it is a little painful selling a $200 necklace for $100 or a $100 necklace for $50. It's the wholesale game, right? So I have to say that is a little painful. But there is a long game that I'm playing, so I've settled into what works for me. I shut off all the rest, and I'll go back and I'll revisit.
Fabulous.
I'm trying to really squeeze in so much. I really could talk to you ladies all day long. I have so much I need to know. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you make your own jewelry?
Yes, I do. So yes, I do, and no, I don't. I never thought I would not make my own jewelry. I have 2 lines. Oh, you girls have to go to the website.
Beautiful. Wow.
So, like, I do one-of-a-kind pieces. So I only make those. And that really came out of necessity that I'm continuing to do that because the way I bought materials is a big issue for you creatives. In the past was like a woman at the farmer's market making a Sunday brunch. I'll have a little of this, I'll have a little of that. And what you'll learn, you know, if you're going in that route, is that I needed to first plan a line to make a production at a high volume. And so I was working backwards. So I probably have 20 grand in stones that I need to use up. I don't have enough to offer on a line sheet wholesale and bulk. So aside from my limited edition pieces, my one-of-a-kind work, I then created a line out of resourceful materials that are going to be consistent for me, that once I made the line, I have somebody else that helps me reproduce in quantity for stores. And you know, I swore I would never. I was like, it was like the curse of like the fine artist in me. I would never let anybody else make my work. I like had this thing in me, this ego part. Like I couldn't fathom it. Well, let me tell you something. You got a couple of good checks, and you could fathom it really quick. This is like very true. I am moved by money. That's another thing I had to get over in my life. I'm charging what I deserve. You know, it's not charity, and I need to charge what I deserve so I can continue to do this. Or else you're going to do the greatest disservice and end your little fling with the flair that you have inside your heart, and you're going to have to go out of business because a hobby cannot sustain. You're not ever going to be able to reach the people you need to reach unless you charge what you deserve so it can propel. It's the gas in your car, ladies. So I know you have other people on talking about that this week, which is going to be great for you.
Well, I wanted to talk to your point about bringing someone in to produce for you. It's you can parallel that directly to any business as far as bringing people on your team. Not thinking that you have to do everything yourself, and you're diluting your creativity by letting someone else help you, by hiring an assistant, by hiring someone to do your work, by training someone to do what you do, to help lighten that load. Because when you allow yourself the time to be the chief creative and to help, dictate is the wrong word, delegate to somebody else, you are lightening your load to be more in your clarity, as we were talking about this morning, more in your creative zone and to do better work.
Absolutely. And, you know, let me tell you, years ago, at my height, I did 30 fairs a year. So I know how
you froze for
one person. I did 30 fairs a year, which pretty much looks like you're divorced, because from April to October, I was out every Friday night to Saturday, like, you know, late night. And everybody thought that doing a fair was code for my husband has the kids this weekend. And we were set. I swear to God, it was like a terrible family model. But so what I just want to say with that is I tried at that point. I experimented with making even 10 of this, 15 of this. The best sellers are the things that people were liking the most. And I hated it. The magic is gone. I do the magic still now. I create, I design, I dictate, I create the line, a well-rounded line. And that the magic's done, and then I pass it off, like a designer to a dressmaker to the pattern shop. I pass it off. So my magic is no less, and my magic is no less valuable. It's no less enjoyable. I don't miss a thing. I don't need to do 200 body wraps, you know, or crystal collars. And that's the worth. I just mentioned something. Collars. I created this line I'm playing with, so I'm still changing. I'm still like waking up with new ideas constantly. I go to sleep with dreams, and I solve issues in my dreams all the time, and I wake up. I decided to still leave myself room to play. So what I've created was I have about 7 pieces now that bridge my fine art, really bridge fine art, and my jewelry. And they're located on both my sites, my DeMarcostudios.com and my jewelry site, and they point to each other. So what's amazing is I'm learning about there's a whole new avatar coming at me. Mm-hmm. So I want to just mention that there is a constant metamorphosis for what's happening. So I have to ask myself, when I use up my inventory of these seeds for one of a kind, there's an opportunity. It sounds like a terrible thing, but there's an opportunity. Well, which direction am I going to go in now? Am I going to pick up doing these collars, which really could be, they're very couture. They're gala. People have approached me. This is interesting. People have approached me to use these collars to serve all of their purposes. And that makes me nervous. Once you start like going with gas in your tank and you've got some rocket fuel, people want to come to you to solve their issues, to be a part of their dream. You have to just go cautiously. So I did one in white gauze and tulle, and now somebody wants me to dedicate this line to bridal. It's a little early yet. I'm not willing right now to define myself like this. And this happened every time I released another one. I got contacted by somebody in stage production and costume design wanting me to go that direction. So I'm kind of loving it. I'm having my choice. I'm creating pull energy instead of push energy. I'm doing my thing. I've left room to play. You know, you are the captains of your ship. So if none of this would have happened if I would have still to this day sat here constantly taking more courses about selling online. If I was stuck at square one. Let's just remember. So you may find your client avatar through many ways. In the beginning, I drew up a whole essay about her. And as I learned about her, I found out I may have been wrong. So do not be afraid to be wrong. All right. And how did I decide that? I followed who was actually showing up and what was their lifestyle and habit. So proof positive, recreated. I was taught about my avatar because I was willing to have eyes wide open and ears available to see and hear what was coming at me. I'm not creating for a market. I just know, because I've tried to put myself in front of many different markets, who responded. So I'm a slow learner. It's trial and error. But on that note, don't discount any creative way you've come about this. I have scheduled for the summer 3 or 4 local farmers markets. Now this is poo-pooed upon by jewelry designers and serious jewelers. They all like turn their nose at it. Let me tell you why I do this. Number one, it's in an artist district. Okay, so lots of people come and they love wearing their Birkenstocks and all their stuff and driving up in their, in their Toms and whatever, and they're buying their organic vegetables. People who buy organic food often have a lot of different attributes of people who will buy art or finely crafted things. So there's a crossover for me. 2, I used to have a studio in this artist district, so I know a million people. So it's a great social event for me that I can let people know, new people who I used to know and people I'm meeting new, what I'm doing now. And for 3 hours work, I'm going to tell you, I made it several $100.
Yeah. Well, and you're aligning yourself with someone who is marketing to a similar or an exact replica of your avatar. The same. You're just collaborating with someone else who's already doing it.
You have to have the avatar, and then you're going to learn that they fall kind of apart and cross over and they interweave, and almost at times will seem blurred. But you have to have her in order to do that. The other thing is it put me in an opportunity-rich environment. 3 people approached me asking me if I do wholesale because they're either opening a store, have a store, or know somebody whose my work will go well in their store. Mm-hmm. Right? So $35 to me was $35 for a day of marketing. Where else am I going to go? I probably had 4, 5, 6, 700 people, I don't know, pass in from 8 to 2 p.m. Where would I go that I would get that many people to attend an event I'm singularly going to hold to hear about what I'm up to? Mm-hmm. Right, so for $35, I'm at the farmer's market a couple of times this summer.
It's beautiful, and there's kind of this thing with we as creatives and artists and designers and interior designers and healers and all the beautiful creative things that we do, that we don't want to step out of our persona to do something else that may not be as lofty sometimes, right? Or how is this fitting? But you can't care what other people think. You can't care.
There is no academic way. You will meet people who will negate everything that I told you, that say, that's not true, you could do it all on Pinterest. That's not true, you could do it all on Etsy. Look, if Etsy works for you, knock yourself out. But I want you to realize there are no rules. This is not, not high school. There's no rules. So creating your own way is just as valid. And there's where I lacked confidence because I wanted to be a good student. I wanted to get like a gold star. I wanted to do it precisely. There was a part of me before my creative spirit really came in and said, let's get funky with this. Like there was a part of me that wants to do it and do it better than anybody else. So when I couldn't succeed online, that really freaked me out, Shana. That was like messing with my head, like, what am I doing wrong? And then I see everybody else doing it, like, with their 6-figure, like, announcements that they're doing so well online. That was freaking me out, man. Like, I had to get, this is bad. This is bad for my ego because I was not feeling joyful for them. I was like, good, congrats. And I'm like, oh, I'm dying. I suck. I suck thing leads to maybe my jewelry is crap. Maybe it doesn't, and nobody wants my stuff. I mean, let me tell you, I really don't know how I don't know. Therapy is very important during this period.
Therapy is very important.
I can only listen to so much conversion rate online, avatar. Like you need seriously other people, this network of all of you in the room together. Stay in touch with each other. Find like-minded spirits when you go back home because if somebody's not in it, you will just lose every friend. I swear to God, you will. They'll get here with this. You have to compartmentalize. But for the young girls, the students here, I did have something I wanted to say to you and anybody else starting out just in business. I'm so proud that you're all here, because there's a reason why 6 guys go in and buy a bar because they've spent a lot of time in one, fail. All right, because they don't realize they need to learn accounting, back end of the books. I mean, the responsibility is all yours. You know, you have to do your due diligence. But what I want to say, especially since you're all just starting out, is I want you to, I'm a big fan of paper and pencil. I'm really not a big, well, I am a digital girl, but when you collect people's, create a notebook that says 2014 on it, all right? When you get everybody's business card, you exchange cards, you write on the business card where you knew them from. You think you will remember, you will not. And then you tape it, and you make a note. This was from the blah-blah-blah, and what the smallest details, because you never know when. 5 years is coming from now. 7 years is coming from now. 10 years is coming from now. You're going to pull out 2014, and you're going to be hot in a project that you really think that somebody else can help you make it, you know, worlds better with you. And you're going to want to reconnect. You know, so that's my advice. Is I wish I had all along the way. I mean, I'm 42 now. You know, if I look back in art school, nobody had a digital life. Nobody had an iPhone. No, you know, no. You just, I don't know. You just thought you'd remember where everybody is and everybody would stay the same. It just, there was no better way. So I still feel like keep track of people, keep track of those who are in this with you, because you share a sensitivity for your highs and your lows that no one else can appreciate. Questions? What are you doing? Anybody have questions?
Any questions, even specifically speaking to ideal clients and figuring all that out?
I know many of you are doing more than one thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Lady with the ponytail, you had your hand up?
Bridget. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I was just curious about your background in business. Like, I am going to be a junior this year, and I was thinking about getting a business certificate. It just includes marketing, accounting. I took a stats class already, human development, resources. Did you take all those classes, or do you just kind of like throw yourself into it?
Okay, so you could be my daughter. Well, and I'm not even talking age, but I would not pay for art school for my children, and that shocks many people. I've been very forward about that. I've written about that, because what I would pay for them to be, no one needed. If you're going to do brain surgery, you need a little something on the wall, all right? my son is 15, right? I need a little certificate. I need a little something, something. My son is 15, and he says to me the other day, maybe I'll go to college to be a writer. I was like, no, you won't. That's like code for unemployed. That's like, I need another 4 years of college. You can take writing workshops your whole life. That the traditional education system is set up to keep you in school. Like, you need to kind of uncover what's really happening here with schooling and what's going to make you a fantastic writer. So for you, I would have you do exactly what you're doing. My background, no. I went, first I was I was a fine art major, jewelry minor, just metalsmithing, and then I was at Pratt at Purchase. Oh, and I did art ed also, so I had like this dual minor. And then at Purchase, I graduated with my BFA, my bachelor's in fine art. And you wouldn't believe, for a state school, I couldn't complete my art education credits. I had to come back to Pratt in Brooklyn to finish my art ed post-baccalaureate for a New York State degree. And then I did my as a teacher. They want you to have your master's degree within a certain number of years of you becoming a permanent full-time teacher. So what I did is, a lot of girls did like special ed, and I thought, thank God, at least I thought to some degree at that point, well, if I ever can't teach, I want a degree that's going to help me have a whole nother career. So what I did was I went to NYIT, and I have a master's in instructional technology, which sounds so sexy, but it expires because none of the programs, the internet isn't even the same as 2000 when I started that whole business. So, and then I just, like I said, I found Jackie Battenfield, and it started the role for me. I've done Marie Forleo's program. I had to go back. So, sister, what you're doing is right, is that you're preparing now that those courses you're taking can fuel you as an entrepreneur to go in any direction. So I told my children, if you are an artist, essentially you're an entrepreneur. You need to know how to run a business. So whether you're doing printmaking, silk scarves, you're doing, you know, music lessons, you want to own a coffee house, you know how to run any business. You can always be true to your desire as you change as a human, as you evolve, and as you develop your skills, that you'll know how to take it and run It's not backwards like the guys who spend a lot of time in a bar or the person who likes to eat a lot of cupcakes want to open up a cupcake bakery. You are really doing yourself such a great service. I just absolutely commend you. Great head on the shoulders. I love it.
Okay.
That's my background. And after that, I did another 75 credits, so I have a master's plus 75. I love school. I love school, but none of that was the 75 credits was not in. They're not matriculated. It was set up with. Long story short, they're not matriculated, but I do love.
Well, the thing about schooling is that we trick ourselves sometimes into thinking we need more. We need more. I'm a creative. I need art school. I want to write. I need to write. You have it in you. You already have what you need. Maybe you need to learn more about grammar or study this poet or study this other thing to help amplify your writing or help you push yourself ahead or learn where your interest is. But it doesn't mean you have to go to a standardized school. It doesn't mean you have to even take a college course. Go where your interest lies, go where your passion is, and then the things that you really can't learn on your own, like some of that business stuff, go to the masters. If you're going to do it in college or take a course, don't feel like you have to have a state standardized certificate degree on your wall. You can piece together your education to create your own education, your own field. You know, I did my design studies in Italy. My certificate is not valid here for certain things, but that doesn't affect my business at all because I've chosen a particular niche that doesn't need these other pieces that I don't want to do anyways. I don't want to be tearing down walls. I bring a contractor in for that who's been certified here because I don't like it. I like furniture. I like fabric. I like, with my art, the same thing. So you need to create your own education, your own curriculum. Our education system here, and I think even globally, is flawed. You need to take control of your own education, not think that because you have a degree on the wall now you succeed.
Yeah, my kid does not need to go to BCU for $60,000 a year to come out being a writer. You know, like what's in him to write about? No one's going to teach him. It's already there. You know, look, it's great to be exposed to wonderful mentors, but you can handpick those.
Yes.
I just wanted to add something also to what April and Shana was saying in regards to taking business classes at school. Like, I wish I did that, even though I've owned a business for the last 13 years. Yeah. And but the biggest thing is going to be mindset, and even though you have the business background, the mindset comes when you go to hire your team, go hire your accountant, your bookkeeper, hire a lawyer when you need one. All of that is going to be like, I don't know, 99% of it is all mindset stuff to give you the courage to take that next step so that you have a real business and it's not just a hobby business. So,
or just an idea of a business. And that brings us full circle to the topic of this conversation, which we've talked about a lot of things, but bringing it back to our ideal client avatar, you can learn how to figure that out, but you can't learn who your ideal client is until you are actually in the trenches doing the work. That's the only way you're gonna figure that out. It's personal. It's very personal. So you can have as many degrees as you want. If you don't know who you're speaking to and what you're doing, it's not going to count at all.
Yeah, and my first statement when we spoke this morning, Shana, was your clients cannot be where you are not.
Yes.
Right? So if I didn't really decide to travel again and to try some new things, doing that attorney's convention, doing the farmer's market, you know, and that also is, I would never have found them, okay? So they're not just going to come knocking down your door. So your clients cannot be where you are not. But also, I, through the years, have had to have real balls to decide, you know, I'm going to go to this fair and I'm going to show my paintings instead of my jewelry. Because as we all know, jewelry sells and it often has supported the fine art. And I had to take some courage and leaps of faith to stand behind what I'm doing enough to put it out there. You know, so I was never going to see, I had created an argument I was never going to win. Because if I don't spend time trying to sell my art, I'm never going to find my fine art avatar also, you know, or no one who can buy it if I don't, you know, don't spend as much time out there showing it, you know, for other people to see and selling it. It's not going to just suddenly ever catch up. So, you know, it's an investment. It's an investment in time. Things need to be nurtured, you know, but it's the shortcut to intimacy, you know, with a quicker sale of a less expensive item. So, you know, do I want to sell, you know, one $100 necklace or, or 10 of those in a day, or one $1,000 painting. I mean, so there is a lot of different things that go into, you know, the mojo that's going to work for you. It depends upon what you're selling. It depends upon price point. There's a, you know, atmosphere, environment, where you are. But that also had to be a commitment over time that I had to invest to take the courage, because you could leave that day without selling a painting. But if a painting sold, and suddenly I'm a believer. It just took a lot of inner work. These were all the inner dialogues, inner conversations with myself about what I was willing to do, how I was allowing myself to feel unsuccessful in the moment, to learn, to move forward, because I wanted, again, you're playing a long game. I'm not defined by just last month's income. Talk to me in 5 years, and let me tell you something. It's only going to keep getting better. So yeah, in any one moment, it may not be everything that I am, but I'm stringing these moments together like really, really beautiful pearls.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's a perfect place to end. Thank you so much, April. You've been amazing.
I want to come back. So have me again and reach out to me. Anybody, I welcome you. Just remind me where I met you, that you were here, and you can always reach out to me with your questions at info@covetandadorn.com, or I will send Shana the link of some other things I put together to recap today. And have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Thank you, April. We'll talk soon. Bye, my dear.
Thanks, Shana.
Bye. Okay.